guys, Ramblin' Bob here again. So we're going to look at something new here. So Harbor Freight came out with a new power station and solar panels. Now I've been using Harbor Freight solar panels, that 100-watt monocrystalline, for a long time, and I still use it now. We still have 6, so a 600-watt array, and we bring it in at about 60 volts, and we get just about 550 watts on a good day, all the way up to 600. So they're very decent producing solar panels. A little bit older technology, and we had to swap the the connectors from the SAE, which is a very old kind of Radio Shack kind of thing, to MC4. But very decent panels. They had built-in little legs and everything. But I just noticed here published November 8th, 2024, which is this week, about not this week, I'm sorry, this month, maybe 3 weeks ago or so. And it's Harbor Freight unveils new Predator portable power stations and solar panels at SEMA. So let's check out what they have here. They have a whole line that go all the way. Now, those of you who are familiar with the Predator motors, they have generators at Harbor Freight. These are all lithium iron phosphate batteries. So kind of interesting to see a new person come into the market, because I know that Jackery was sold at Harbor Freight, and I wonder how that's going to affect that whole game plan. Maybe they'll add to it, or it'll complement it, or it'll kind of, people will pick the Predator over to Jackery. Jackery has a very good name for quality as far as customer service and stuff. They've always stood behind their stuff, and whenever you have a problem, they always fixed it. These are the new systems, and we have some very high resolution pictures on these. Okay, so November 8, 2024, Las Vegas, Nevada, Harbor Freight previewed 4 Predator portable power stations and 2 super lightweight folding solar panels at SEMA today. Ideal for powering tablets, laptops, fridges, TVs, and Bluetooth, wireless speakers, all AC and USB charging outlets. While the lithium iron phosphate, that's the key, guys. I was very interested to see if they were going to go with lithium ion still, or actually upgrade it to lithium iron phosphate, much safer battery chemistry, and you get up to 3,500 cycles. Sometimes you get more than that, depending on the grade of the battery. Here you go. The battery delivers more than 3,500 charge cycles for about 10 years of daily use. It's actually 9.6 about. If you take 3,500 and you divide it by 365, you get about 9. I don't know, what was it, like 9? Just to be accurate here, let's see. You got 3,500 cycles, and then, like, we use our systems every single day, 24/7, 365. So then we have a very good guess of how long the system's going to last at 80%. And then still, you can keep using your systems. Once they reach 80% capacity, it just means you lose the top end, and then over time you get down to 70, and then 60, and then 50. It starts dropping down, but it doesn't mean that it's inoperable. You can throw it away. It just means that it's going to have less capacity. Kind of like your car. When you buy a brand new car, it drives very fast. It drives very good, but over the years, the engine kind of loses its power. It's very similar to that, of what I learned. Okay, so then you divide it by 365, and you get 9.5, about 9 if you round it out. So we round the whole thing up, so about 9.6 years. So just to give an accurate representation of how long to expect a system at its normal, and that's obviously with no abuse to it, or no wrongdoing as far as overcharging it, running it on a very cold day when you're not supposed to. So things like that will obviously knock the lifespan of a system down a lot. So you got to kind of watch that. So that's perfect use as far as a daily routine kind of thing. Okay, the portable power stations will be available in a variety of running watts: 350, 600, 1200, and 2000. So 2,000 watt inverter is not bad. You can pick up like an Occutel that's got like a 2,000 watt inverter. I think the Opez Mega 2, I think that's a 2,500. The Apri's a 2,000 that we have on the channel. The Pecron E1500, that is a 2,200 watt, and the Pecron E2000 is a 2,000 watt. Just to kind of give you a ballpark of what's out there in that 2,000 watt range. Here, for fast solar charging, the portable power stations have built-in high-efficiency maximum power point tracking, which is the MPPT. That's the long way to say MPPT controller, solar controller. Here you go. The battery management system, also known as a BMS if you're new here, protects against overheating, loading and overcharging. So basically, if the system detects a problem, the BMS says, hold on, wait a minute. It's kind of like a crossing guard. When kids go across the street, if the traffic's coming and it's not a good situation, they say, hold on. So it controls energy like that as far as letting it go in or out of the cells. That's what the BMS is. But it's like a manager at a store or something like that. Okay. Pass-through charging allows devices to operate while the power station is charging. That's very nice because back in the days, the original power stations, you had to charge them and then use them. There was an input and an output, but not at the same time. So now over the last year or so, maybe even 2 years, the power stations have really looked at that and said we need a two-way inverter because these people, they don't want to wait 4, 5, 6 hours to charge the station and then use it. They want to use it as they're charging it. So you have a surplus of energy coming in, and anything extra than what you're using goes into the battery bank. So that's nice that you can use it and charge it at the same time. I highly recommend staying away from any power station that doesn't have this feature because it's very helpful, so you don't have to wait for your power station. The 600 watt, 1200 watt, 2000 watt power stations include emergency power supplies, EPS functionality, which instantly switches connected devices to power station's battery during power loss. So EPS is a very, very new or weird way to say it. I believe what they're referring to, and this is just a guess, but it's the same style, is what's known as UPS, and that's an uninterruptible power supply. So basically, if you have a system that's connected to the wall and you're using something to draw energy from the system as it's connected to the wall, if the grid were to drop, you have a very quick time that it can switch over to the batteries, so whatever you're powering doesn't get interrupted. Say you're watching TV, you have a desktop computer, not like a laptop where it has a battery, so it has its own built-in, but a desktop usually is a standalone thing, and if you cut the power on a desktop, if the switchover time is not within that 20 milliseconds or less, a lot of times desktop will shut off on you, which means you lose everything that you were doing. So if you were writing a movie script or work or anything like that or something for school, and all of a sudden the information cut off, you lost everything that you did. Very frustrating if it doesn't have that. So you always want to look at, they call it emergency power supply. Maybe UPS, they didn't want to call it that, but that's basically what it is. Here, they feature an intelligent digital display to monitor runtime, power output, and more. We'll look at the pictures soon, and we'll see what I can kind of guess from looking at the system from the outside in, what the options it kind of has, because I think this is a very basic, just kind of, hey, it's going to have this, and then not really the super specs, if you will, of like a baseball team, how many hits and how many runs. We're going to look at all the watts, and hopefully they'll have it listed on the pictures. With the included solar charging cable, all connect easily to Predator solar panels and most major brands. Now, when they say most major brands, I'm hoping and assuming that they're going to use MC4 connectors. That is the industry standard. They're IP67 water rated, so they're literally waterproof. They can sit underwater for I think up to 30 minutes. Obviously, you wouldn't want to do that on purpose, but that way, if it's raining like a lot and it happens to form a puddle, you don't have to worry about it right away. You can just run out and grab it, and not have to worry about the cords getting wrecked. The Predator 100 watt, 200 watt foldable solar panels all showcased at SEMA today. All super lightweight and use high performance monocrystalline solar cell technology for maximum efficiency. The old ones were like I think it's polycrystalline, and that had not as good as the quality as far as the conversion. So monocrystalline seems to be the newest one as far as what a lot of people are using. Efficiency, output, and longevity. Okay, featuring a compact folding design, the solar panels are portable and can be set up and used in tight spaces. Okay. Well, that's kind of weird. Tight spaces sometimes might not be good, guys, because you need the sun. So if you don't have an open space, I think what they're referring to, and this is Harbor Freight, so take it for what it's worth. They got good and bad. I think they're talking about possibly storing them in tight spaces, because a small spot is, well, I suppose we have to wait and see. But yeah, you need a lot of space for solar, because if you put it in a tight spot, chances are you're going to have a building or a structure or tree, branches, leaves, something in the way. So you really want to have a solar panel in a open area or field or something like that. It works so much better. I think maybe what they're talking about is maybe it's smaller than the average solar panel, so maybe that's what they're talking about in a tight spot or tight spaces. But like I said, we have to wait and see. To position the solar panels to allow for maximum sunlight absorption, they have adjustable kickstand. That's nice that it's adjustable. A lot of times it's set at like that 45 degrees, which is usually the best time for like spring and fall. And then winter and summer, obviously, it's straight above your head or way over there. So those are the times where you get less, especially winter. That's really hard on solar power. For use in rugged environments, the solar panels are ETFE laminated and IP65. So remember, that is not waterproof. IP65 is water shed or water resistant. The difference is, waterproof, you can literally dunk something underwater. Water resistance or water shed means if you took like I don't know, like a can of soda or a glass of water and threw it at it, kind of like a splash, it's like splash resistant. So that's just something to keep notes for if you really need something that's really going to be in like a Florida environment or something where it's always humid and raining all the time. Okay, the Predator solar panels would be available in stores online early in 2025, so they're not out yet. The Predator 350 watt portable power station will be available in stores and online mid-December. So that's very, very soon. And I believe I have one page open because I did find one that is either on pre-order or it's in stock now. So I'll look at that too and see. Let's see. And then here you have very, very decent photos that we can see these systems. Let's see. The 600 watt, 1200 watt, and 2000 watt would be available early 2025. Okay, so basically they're testing the water with the 350. If it goes good, then they'll bring the rest in and hopefully kind of get the ball rolling there. They will only be available at Harbor Freight. So Predator is an exclusive Harbor Freight style product, and I think they make like drills and stuff like that. I'm not really a big Harbor Freight fan, to be honest with you. I do have a Harbor Freight page that I save on that Buy Me a Coffee thing, and it shows my favorite products that I bought over the years, to highlight those, because that's what we try to do on this channel, is to let people know what we found that we like, and then if it helps them, that's even better. Okay, members of the Harbor Freight team are available for media interviews. Okay, so that's all contact information. Okay, blah blah blah. Let's see these photos now. Okay, so here's your systems. It looks like all of them. Let's take. I think that's the biggest one. It's hard to know. Let's just pop one open and see what it does here. Oh, there you go. Hey, Harbor Freight, great job on the pictures. Do they get even bigger? Holy crapzilla! Look, guys, look at this. Holy crapzilla, that's huge. Wow, that's almost too big. Okay, so let's start up here. This looks like a, if you remember the Occitel and the Afri that we have on the channel, this looks like a little compartment where you can put the cables and stuff. I like that right away. It looks like a very basic power station, but I do like this. We only have that on two power stations, and it's this little thing that you open up, and then inside there you can put your wallet, your keys, cables, all kinds of stuff in there. It's like a glove compartment. It's really cool. Okay, so this is your DC. So this is going to be a 12 volt cigarette port, if you will, and then you have a button that turns that on. That's always nice to have that on a separate port, and that way you can use the ports that you want and leave the other ports off to save power. And that comes out at about 120 watts respectively, 12 volts at 10 amps. It's possibly regulated at about 13.5 volts is what I've seen on those. Now the screen is interesting, but very, very simplistic. It looks kind of like, if you guys remember, what's that power station, like VTO Man and Energizer and like NERSV and stuff like that, where it's just real basic. I'm assuming these little dots, there's probably another row missing here, and each dot, let's see, it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. So each dot is going to probably represent 2%. So as they drop down, which is kind of weird because the number doesn't match the dots, but I'm only guessing because it looks like there's a row of dots missing here. So if there's 50 dots, figure each dot is about 2% or so. And then here's your time to empty, so it has a countdown thing. This is your output, and then probably when you charge it, I'm going to make the assumption that right here is going to be an input. So if you're charging from either the wall or solar, that'll show up there. And these are real basic pictures, guys, so we don't have much to go off here. This is kind of nice. So a kind of a little reminder here that lets you know that you know how long to hold a button. Is it like a Bluetti? Some of the systems are just you tap the button, and some you have to hold down. So I think that's a little nice touch that they kind of let us know that. Pretty basic, but you know some people don't know. So here's a power button, and then this button. I'm gonna make the assumption. These are all assumptions now. I think this is to turn the screen on and off, but I'm not sure. It looks like screen and then blank screen, but yeah, that obviously has a line that goes. Oh, I lost it here, guys. See this little arrow here? So it goes to the screen. So this has something to do with the screen, and I'm gonna maybe it's a phone, Bluetooth. I don't know, but it looks like it has something to do with turning on and off the screen. Maybe like a standby to save power. And then here's our UPS section. So once again, you have a separate button. I like that. I like when these buttons light up, though. I like that. And that way, when you turn this on, you know that it's on or off before you leave it on and you waste all your power. And then you have a USB-C PD port. That stands for Power Delivery Port, and that's 100 watts. Where this comes in handy, guys, is if you have the new fancy phones and you want to really super speed charge them, this port can get the job done. That's a lot of power that can dump into a phone. And then here you have also USB-C power delivery 60-watt ports, and you get 2 of those. So that's actually something that's really interesting, is they actually focused on a lot more power delivery USB-C ports. Boy, that's a tongue twister. That a lot of power stations, a lot of them usually have only 1 or 2. So they actually have 3 high-powered, this is super high-powered, but 3 high-powered USB-Cs. I like to see that on there. And then it looks like they have 3 grandpa ports. These are USB-A at 12 watts, and then that's 3 of those. So that's, what is it, probably 5 volts or 9 volts, something like that. It doesn't have the voltage rating here. In order to get these guys out at 100 watts, they come out at usually 20 volts at 5 amps. And then these would be 15 volts at 3 amps. That's how they get this rating right here. No, I'm sorry. 15 volts at, oh boy, I can't even do math. So 15 volts, yeah, 15 times 4 amps. That would be 60, okay. All right, let's see here. So these aren't the quick charge over here. They have a faster one, kind of like USB 3 on your computer with that little blue thing. Those come out at like 18 watts. But being that you have 3 of these here, I like that. I like that a lot because that gives more power access to, like if you and your friends have phones, you can plug them all at the same time, because chances are you're not going to get that 100 watt into a phone, but you'll definitely get 15 to 50 depending on your phone. So that's great. That's 3 little, I don't know how big this is. Oh, this is 2,000. So if that's 2,000 watt hours, you could definitely do a lot of phones with that. And then here's the AC part. So here running watts is 2,000 watts on this AC inverter, and max starting watts is 4,000. Now what that is, now this is all under different terminology. Max starting is what's known as a surge power. So like if you turn on your car, you know how much your battery's got to really pull energy to start the car. It's immense. It's hundreds of amps to start a car. And then once it gets going, of course, then the engine runs itself with the gas. But to start a motor, like if you have a circle saw is a prime example. If you hook that to a kilowatt meter and you start a circle saw, man, that surges like 1,800 watts, and then it kind of goes down to anywhere between 7 and 1,000, depending on the size, of course. You can get really big ones, but that's like an average size one. They do have 1,000 545 watt hours. So it's not actually a 2,000 watt hour power station. It's a 2,000 watt inverter with 1,545 watt hours of battery inside. So basically, you could run this inverter at full power for approximately 30 to 45 minutes, depending on the efficiency, which we don't know yet. So that kind of gives you an idea of the runtime. And then pure sine wave, that's always nice, guys. Neutral, floating, ground. But the pure sine wave is very, very good because the old one used to have what's known as a modified or a box wave. And that's basically where it would go like this and it would shoot up real fast and then go down. And a pure sine is like this, where it kind of goes like a water waves in a lake or ocean. And it's much more much more nice for special electronics or very expensive stuff. It's not that hard cut, because it's alternating current, so it goes wham and then wham and then wham. Where it's kind of more easy flowing, if you will. I don't know the proper word for that, but a lot more nice to the equipment, if you will. And then let's see, that's another one here. Is it the same kind of? So here's the 1,200 watts. Okay, we're going order here. So that was the biggest back here. This has 1,060 watt hours with a 1,200 watt inverter. I have to say, I do like when a power station is equal the battery pack to the AC inverter. I call that 1-to-1. I don't know the technical term for it. I'm not a professional, but I always call that 1-to-1, which means you have 100% battery power to exactly the same size as the inverter that you're using. And I just think it's a better match for the inverter, and I think you get a better, you're not pushing it so hard, I think you get a better use. It's even better, obviously, when you go the other way. Say you have a 500 watt inverter and an 8,000 watt hour battery. Obviously, it's much more efficient that way because the batteries don't have to stress as hard to get that inverter full power. We try to always use our systems at 50% rated power. So if I were to buy this system, I would try to keep it around 600 watts. And then obviously that's less than the battery power. And the reason I do that is the same as your car. When you get on the freeway, if you hit the gas, you could go 100, 150 miles an hour in a car sometimes, depending on the car, right? Or even faster. But obviously that long term, that's not going to be very good for that car unless it's a racing car and built for that, those kind of high speeds. Can the car go that fast? Absolutely, because they manufactured it to do that. It's just not made to do that on a regular basis, right? So if you were to run this power station at 600 watts max all the time, that's 50% load, and I believe that power station will last much, much longer than running it at 1,200 watts every day. So something to think about. Same as your car. If you push that pedal all the way down to the floor, a car's not going to last as long as if you treat it nice. Think of the little old lady going to the store, and she's driving that 57 Cadillac, and then she's getting her groceries and coming home. That car could last 50, 60, 70 years if the bumper doesn't fall off. That's a catch with old Cadillacs. All the inputs, you have 4 ACs. It looks all the same, so they use the same style. I don't know what would you call it, design, if you will, casing. You have your DC. Here's all your buttons. I don't know what this one does still. Very simplistic. And then if you look close, notice that all these little dots are full. Great pictures, Harbor Freight. Fantastic. So you got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, and 50. So my assumption was correct that each dot represents about 2% of battery pack. If it just had this, I would be frustrated with that. This is obviously nice because it's more simplistic to be able to, rather than, like if you had half of these, you'd have to go, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. That would be frustrating. So I'm glad that they put this here. And I could see, someone like Harbor Freight, kind of cut those corners and just put little dots like that. That's very frustrating. And then you also have the time to empty, which is like a built-in shunt that kind of gives you. Now, none of them are usually 100% accurate, but they always give you kind of a rough idea. It's a best guesstimate, if you will. All right, so that's the 1,200 watt power station. And now we're going to see what's the next one, a 600 watt. Let's look at that one. Great pictures. God, Harbor Freight, great job. Okay, so this is the 600 watt power station. And notice now they're starting to shrink, so you lost two of your AC receptacles over here, and then you'll have a 512 watt hour battery pack in there, and then 600 running watts and 1200 what they call starting watt. Great pictures. Jeez Louise, guys. You got to give it up for Harbor Freight with these pictures. 1200, which is what's known as surge power. Let's see here. So pure sine wave. So even their small ones are having still pure sine wave, which is good. I hope they stay within the modified. For the most part, it's the same outputs, except now there's only a power delivery 100, which is great that they kept that. And then here's your 18 watts, so they dropped that one down. And let's see, you got the 212. I wish these were 18s, but you do have this one. I don't like to see these really old ones anymore. If any companies put USB A's on there, I like to see them at the full 18 watt output, just in case if you want to charge something old style GoPro or something like that, and you got a USB, get a little bit more power in there, and that way you can put your phone here, your tablet here, and then something else here. So I do like that, but I understand this is a very, very budget model here. And then notice that it only has one button here that hold for 3 seconds, so it almost looks like there's a button inside a button, but I'm not sure. And without obviously the specs and the paperwork or the owner's manual, we really don't know. Not too much to it. I'm going to assume that the charging brick is built in. I'm hoping, but like I said, until we get more information, we just don't know. Now this is the one that's probably available now, guys. This is the 350 watt, which is a 350 watt rated, 2 AC receptacles, 120 volts. That's nice that all of them are 120 and none of them are 110 anymore. I like that. Same screen, so they use exactly literally the same screen on all 4 power stations, and that's usually what Harbor Freight's known for. Is they cost they not really cut corners. Well, I suppose you could say that. They find shortcuts to make the product more cheaper and easier to sell, I guess, in the market. But sometimes they use the same molds. That could be frustrating, I guess, for some of the stuff. Now you only have one USB 100 watt power delivery port, but notice that this one is different than the other ones, guys. I don't know if you noticed that. This is an Innie Audi. I love this. This is my favorite option on a power station. A lot of people don't need it. A lot of people don't like it. I like it. Now, what you could do with this port is you could pull out up to 100 watts into a device, or this is the neat thing. You can charge it via solar panel if you have an older solar panel, or if you have a small power brick or another power station. You can actually go from USB out of one power station into the USB input of this one and charge this power station that way. So this means you don't have to bring the charging brick if it does have that, or the AC charging cable. You can a very small USB 100 watt cable and put it in your pocket. That's nice, guys. I like that a lot. And then here's your 2 USB A's at 12 watts apiece. You only get 2 on these smaller ones, but understandably so that the casing is smaller, so they didn't have the room for the inverter and stuff, and the big array of outlets and ports and stuff like that. Okay, so that's all 4 of these guys. Once again, guys, fantastic job on the pictures. Harbor Freight, I didn't expect that quality of pictures. Now here's the panels. I think it was 100 watt and 200 watt, I believe. They look very similar to. I like the all black look. I wish they'd get rid of these little the silver lines, but sometimes they need that. I like as dark as possible, and that way they blend in and you don't notice them so much. But obviously the big red ends. This kind of looks like, it reminds me of like I think it's Bluetti that had these plastic handles that were smaller. We have the PB2000s that it has these, they're big blue, and then these are red. Obviously, that's their color scheme. Petgrunt has their handles or their edges were all like orange. So everyone's got their color scheme, understandably so. If we can look close there, it kind of looks like an MC4, but it kind of does not. This part looks a little different. So until I actually see the ports, we won't know. what they used for the connections. I'm hoping that they used MC4s. And then, like, these are the Predator generators. They've had a lot of these at Harbor Freight for a while now. I do like the grommets here, guys. These grommets are nice because you can actually use these for string, and you can hang them up at campsites and stuff. You can hang them from a tree branch. You can hang them from side of your vehicle, or you can tie them down or stake them into the grass in the summer, and that way they don't flop around or nothing like that. You can just lay them on the ground. But it is nice that you can either stake these down or tie them to something. Don't put them on your car, though, guys, because the problem with that is when you strap these to the top of your roof of your car, or your RV, or truck, or van, or whatever, even a boat. The problem with that is when you get enough pressure of the wind, it could rip that off and cause very, very big damage on a freeway. Imagine something flying at you while you're going 60 or 70 miles an hour. That's not a good idea. Fantastic products, pictures, guys, fantastic. I never thought I'd say that about Harbor Freight. It's a great job. Usually it's really basic stuff. Okay, so that's their corporate newsroom advertisement or whatever, news report for their new stuff. And now we're going to go to their Black Friday sale. Let's get rid of the cookie thing here. So this is, oh boy, all kinds of locations. Okay, so this is obviously their Black Friday sale, and this is their Predator stuff. So they have a lot of these for a long time. Oh, Bauer, this is what I was thinking about. I thought they had Predator tools, but it's actually Bauer. Notice that they look identical. You know, you'd probably think if it didn't have the name on there, you thought it was the same company making that stuff. But now what we're going to do is we're going to look under power stations, and we're going to kind of see what they have. Now, I know they sold Jackery ones, and they do have different Jackery ones than you buy online. Hobotech taught us that they actually use different versions. Even though the names are the same, it's actually different versions of batteries that you get inside there. So, and they have EcoFlow now. Great company, guys. That is a good company there, EcoFlow. That's probably the top power station in a lot of people's opinion on the market is EcoFlow. And then Blue Eddy's very good too. I like the Pecron because you can't beat the price though. You know, the price per watt hour is just unbelievable compared. Pecron is a premium product at a premium price. Now, here's one of the Predators now. So we'll open that one. And then, obviously, they have Jackeries. Jackery's a very expensive one. Notice that the difference here. This is 294 watts to 500 watts. So that would be approximately double the price. So this would be about $400-ish for about the same for 550. So it is a premium price, but they have great quality customer service. These are big systems here. It's great to see these big systems of EcoFlow at the a store like Harbor Freight. You know, you'd never expect that. Like Thunderbolt. Now this is hopefully they have a SAE where I can explain it. Okay, so this is SAE, and I believe that's what they call it, SAE. So it has a weird kind of older style port where it's hard to explain. Guys, if you remember Radio Shack, they had those like RC cars. These are the ports they used to use on a lot of their communication stuff in the RC world, and they're not waterproof, and not many people like them. They don't hold tight together. They're kind of wiggly, kind of like a Anderson power pole. You know, they kind of click in, but they're kind of wiggly. I like MC4, guys, and I wish that they would go to MC4. I wish that they would put an updated version of this. This is the Thunderbolt solar power connection kit. I wish that they would throw in a MC4 to SAE to MC4. And then, guys, whenever you mod a cable or adapt a cable, make sure 100% that your polarity is correct, because you could really run into a lot of problems, if not destroy your power station or your battery by, like hooking up the polarity backwards. Bad idea. It's like a car battery backwards. Horrible idea. Do not do that. Let me grab just a drink of Dr. Pepper here. All right, as I ramble my head off here, but I really like talking about the solar power stuff. I like every day. It just seems it's more of a habit now. It's like an addiction. So hopefully you guys are not the same way. But boy, it's really caught me by storm. This stuff here, this solar power stuff. It's changed my life. That's not a joke. Okay, so here we have a lot of good pictures here. So this is the Predator 350 watt hour power station that comes with 294. So that's kind of like the smallest Jackery I think that they made was like 300 watt hour battery pack. and this is a $200. So this definitely is getting into the range with lithium iron phosphate batteries. There is a review on there. I wonder if somebody actually bought it. Let's jump down and see. Okay, here, better than Jackery. That, oh boy, I don't know. That's Jackery is pretty darn good. I own several Jackery power stations, and I prefer this one. The LED displays lets you know the charging levels by percentage and how long the battery will last if you keep using the same wattage. It's cosmetically nicer looking as well. It's very sturdy and metal handle to pick up for a longer life. So far, I'm very impressed with the product. So, saying it's actually better than Jackery, that's a big statement for a new power station. If you look at the Jackery, notice that I think that he was making a mistake. I don't know even if that's a real review, because if you look at the like, this is a small one, right? This is a 550 watt-hour power station. Notice it does have the battery percentage right there. So reviews are always tough, guys. You know, you got to take them for a grain of salt sometimes. Let's see here. Okay, so we're back here. So now we're going to look at the pictures. Hopefully we can go through them all, and then maybe we can get a better look at the side and the tops. There is a built-in handle. I like that, but I'm jumping ahead here, guys. So here's your vents. So there's probably maybe one fan in there, and then there's probably a vent on the other side, and then the handle up there. I don't think it's got wireless charging, but you never know. Oh, here's the input here. So you have Anderson power pole from 12 to 30 volts, 120 watt max. You can over panel, and I highly recommend, and what we do, we over panel. I run 3,200 watts of panels in 2 arrays, and we can only get 2,400 of that into our power station, because that's the limit of the MPPT controller boards on that particular power station, that E3600. But when you over panel, what happens is when the sun is not so good that day, and it's a little rainy and stuff like that, you have a better chance of getting power on the holy crapzilla days rather than the really, good days, of course. If the sun is out all the time, it's easy to get solar power. But we over panel because not every day is Little Orphan Annie. The sun will always come out. So we always plan for the bad days, and then on the good days you have way more than you can use. But then the good thing too is if you over panel your system down the road, as you update your battery banks or your head for your main system, if you're buying a modular system and you upgrade that or something like that, like take the batteries from the old ones like we did with the Pecron stuff, and we updated the systems, now we have room to expand without spending any more money later because we already have it. So it's a plus that way too. So let's see what else we got. Standard 100 watt max charging input. But remember, guys, this system has that USB-C any Audi, and I think that's the only one. I don't think the other ones had it. Let's see. Let's go back to the picture real quick here, guys. I sure like yapping about this stuff, guys. Let's see if that had any Audi and I missed it. Nope. See, it does not have it. So only the small one has what we call the coined the term any Audi here, the USB, so you can charge through that way. So that's the only system that has that, is the smallest one, which is kind of an ironic thing because I like that on all the systems. And that's the best feature that I would like on the smallest system. It doesn't matter how big the system is. I like to have it because it's just so useful for what I need it for. I could take a small power bank, and if I'm not going to use it anymore, I just dump the power into there. And you're not going to get a lot of power, but every little bit helps, right? So I like the option. I wish that would stay. And also a light. A light should be on every power station made, in my opinion, because a light is the most vital thing I can think of in an emergency situation. You can't see, you can't work. It's hard, right? So it's always tough to deal with emergency if you can't see. Imagine changing your car tire on the side of the freeway where you don't have a light. Man, that could be tough, right? And you're in the country, and there's no street lights or anything, and no street signs or anything, and all you see is these cars whipping by, and you have no focus light to see where the lugs are on the tire to take the tire off. So that's a very big thing. No light on this system. Here's all your icons here. Very, very, as I said, very simplistic. I do like that they're red. I like that the overall cosmetic look of the system is uniformed. I was always a fan of that. It looks nicer. There's an old saying, it looks nicer, it drives better. The more chrome you have on your car, the faster it goes. That's an old saying. Obviously, it's not true, but it sure does look nice going down the street. So I do like the overall cosmetic view of the system. Like I said, it looks like that Bauer tool, and I thought they were the same. But you'll definitely know that this is Harbor Freight then. There's a couple things plugged in here. Oh, and look at that. So the buttons actually do light up, guys. Look at that little green buttons. I like that. I like that a lot for one very big reason. If you don't, or, you know, say the screen is on like, sometimes they want blackout or standby to save power, and then you don't know that you left the DC on, that can destroy your whole battery in a very short time, or your AC if you're not using it. And this way, from across the room, even in the daytime, you can see, oh, that green button's on, turn that off, otherwise you're wasting power. And when you're starting out with 294 watt hours on a small system like this, guys, you don't have much to waste. So you want to, like, literally save every ounce of watt hours that you can, because think of it this way, you don't have much to start with. So if you only have $300 in your wallet and you're jumping into solar power, $300 doesn't go very far, so you want to use every bit of your money efficiently, and that's the same as power. I look at power the same as money, because it's time and energy to get that power. It's the same as money. You got to go to work and get the time and energy to get the money. So when you think of it that way, as energy is money, it's much easier to understand and kind of relate to. Let's see here. Here's their cables. I do like that the cables are snaked together, if you will. It's the positive and negative, and they're like glued together or seamed together. So you have one cable as opposed to two. That could get a little messy. So I do like that. I do like also that the cables are highly visible for positive and negative, black and red. I like that. That's a nice thing. I think it's a nice start for a budget power station for a company like this. What's the other one? DJI also came out with a couple too. I should look at those too, but look at it. It matches the truck. They got the red and black truck, and they get the red and black Predator, and they're in the middle of nowhere, and they're going to get 300 watts of power to run this little guy right here, and then that'll run off this. This looks like a 200 watt panel. Actually, it looks kind of small. It's hard to know until you actually see it. Maybe they figured out how to shrink the size of the solar cells or the panels to get 200 watts into a smaller package, if you will. Maybe that's what they're referring to. But until we actually see the product, like I said, it's hard to know. Now here they're running this. Was that not a pressure cooker? Was that a crock pot? I wonder how many watts that uses, if that's a 350, because a lot of heating devices are really, really hot, and I wonder if that could really run that. Like a heat plate is like anywhere between like 500-600 all the way up to, well, it could go very high, 1,500, a couple thousand for induction stove or a tabletop cooker. But apparently you could run that. This is where something like this would really come in handy, though. A little portable fridge or something like that, where you can put this inside that car or something like that, or small stuff like this, like a little light. If you're gonna run lights, guys, do yourself a favor, get LEDs. Man, you save a ton of money. An average, when I was a kid, an average bulb used to be about 100 watts. Think of the energy we wasted as kids, and we didn't realize it. You remember when Pops used to run around the house and he'd close the fridge and yell at you for leaving the door open and the energy? And you remember the old saying, this will take you back, guys, we're not heating the outside, right? So I mean, when you get older, you understand what he meant by that, because now it's affecting your pocketbook, and it makes a lot more sense to you. So that was always an interesting thing to flash back to, is we're not heating the outside. Or, you guys, another old saying, you remember this one? Were you born in a barn? That means close the doors when you come in the house and everything. So a lot of old sayings there that are still funny to this day. Let me shrink this here a little bit. All right, do we have specs? Oh, here we go. Look at that, guys. Okay, so this is what I was looking for. So here's the SKU number if you want to order it. The brand is Predator. Battery capacity 294 watt hours. It doesn't say the actual, other than the battery chemistry, it's lithium iron phosphate is what they said. Yep, right over here, lithium iron phosphate. It doesn't say that the actual voltage of the battery. I'm going to, once again, make an assumption. It could be 12, 24, or 48 volt battery. I'm assuming it's a smaller one, so maybe 12 volt, I'm guessing, but possibly a 24. You never know. You never know how they wired the cells. Same capacity, except the way you wire them can become drastically different. Battery included, yes. Well, I hope so because that is 95% of the product. So I'm glad that they gave you the battery in a power station. Charge time, AC 4 hours, so that would be a solar day. If you were doing it through solar, it's 3 hours. 3.1. You get about 5 hours in a solar day. So I look at everything as a solar day when I charge stuff. That way, when I charge my AC, I want to know, can I get it done within the same time of a solar day? That way you don't have to charge it for 10 or 12. The one I had originally was the Milan 640, guys, and that one took, I think it was like, don't quote me on this, I think it was like 70 or 80 watts in, and it's 640 watt-hour battery pack, and of course you lose with conversion. It was like, I don't know, 8 to 10 hours of charge, I think. Oh, it drove us crazy. But, you have to learn. You have to go through your steps you can't win the race on the first race. You know what I mean? So you build your car up, you build your power station up, and you look for the options and the features that you like better, and then you enjoy those and get more use out of your stuff that way. Let's see. So if you do AC, and now here's where that any Audi comes in handy. See this AC plus the USB-C, 2 hours. So you just cut your charging time down in half because if you have like a gallium nitrate, which we call GAN charger on this channel, it's 100 watts into the USB-C any Audi, right? And then you have another 100 watts coming in through the AC. That's great, right? You just cut your time in half to literally 2/5 of a solar day. So that's cool. And then here, car is 5 hours because obviously a car gets you about 100 watts on average. Product length is 9 3/4, so that would be boy, what would that be? The length. It's length time width time height. So length. Oh, there you go. Length. I didn't even see it, guys. Holy cow. 9 3/4 inches length, and then the width is 7.5 inches wide, and it doesn't have. Here's the height. No, wait. Where's the height? You guys, you missed the height. I assume that one of these is going to be the height, but they didn't have it. Max AC starting watts. So that is your surge power, guys. That's what they mean by that. I don't like when they use different terminology like that because it confuses people. All the people should have the same terminology so you can have a better chance of learning. Yeah, there's no height here, guys. So we got length times width, but there's no height. So it's going to be length times width. That's probably depth. I don't know. So that's Harbor Freight for you guys. They're always had different terminology. Accessories included, you get the AC charging cable. It still doesn't say what the AC charging cable is, if it's MC4 or it's SAE. You get a car charging cable. Now that one we know what it is because that would be a cigarette port, which is like a big barrel basically. You know what a cigarette port is. Some people call them marine ports. There's another terminology that they use. We call them SIG ports, cigarette lighter port. Lithium iron phosphate, of course, 3,500 cycles. Here's your certification, so that's nice that they actually check them to make sure that this battery doesn't cause any problem. Oh, here. Okay, so this was way out of order here. Here, product height, guys, it's way over here. It should be over here. This should be over there. So here's your 7 3/4. So it's 9. Let's round it up. It's about 10 by 7 by 7 to give you an idea. This is way out of place, guys. This should be over here. That's why I couldn't find it. And then product weight, 10 pounds. That's obviously the lithium iron phosphate batteries talking. If it was lithium ion, it would probably be about 7 or 8 pounds. And it does add a good percentage of weight when you go to lithium iron phosphate. However, the pros and cons are almost, I want to say almost 80-90% towards the pros of lithium iron phosphate over lithium ion. Lithium ion you can use at a colder temperature, but lithium iron phosphate, much safer battery chemistry. Holy crapzilla. And then your shipping weight is 15.5 pounds. So 5 pounds for the box and everything, and the cables and everything. Wow. And then warning, Prop 65, guys. That is basically California. Everything in life causes cancer, so watch out. And then we have one product review. Here's your manual here, owner's manual and safety instructions. So I'll open that and we'll see if that has anything different here. Take a closer look. What is that? Oh, okay. It has the highlights here. Output measured in watts. Okay, blah blah blah. 294 watt hours, 350 max. AC running watts, 700 watts starting watts. This should say surge, in my opinion. It should say surge. Fast solar charging, quiet and clean, pure sine wave. See, this is what I was referring to before, guys. If you don't know, pure sine wave looks like a wave in the ocean, and a modified goes like this, like this here. See how square that is? That's what a modified does. And it's real hard on some electronics when they're real fancy. This says 100 watt USB input, and notice that it has the same port here. It's obviously what we call the ini-outie, and then this is 120 volts. So very good specs so far. This I wish was an 18. I still like the 18. Normal, that's normal. I'm not a fan of Anderson so much. But I think if you're going to have one built into the system without a cable, I think Anderson is probably, well, actually XT60 I'd love to see, or maybe on a power station that's this small, XT30. I think it's a better port. I don't know, it's just an opinion, but I think it's a better port. This kind of gives you an idea of how long you can go. Basically, you take the watt hours, guys, and you divide that by what you're using. If you're using a 50 watt laptop, you can run approximately 5 to 6 hours, depending on the conversion loss. That's something you got to learn later. So figure about 5 hours on a 300 watt power station is a good ballpark for a 50 watt laptop. Here's your charging product features here. So here's the other side that we didn't see. So obviously there's a vent on both sides, and that's to get the air in and out easily here. Rubberized feet. That's always good, guys, because if you have any kind of vibrations, you know, it's pretty small, but any vibrations from a fan or anything can actually vibrate enough to where a system would actually slide across the table over the course of a day or two. Let's see here. The fold-away handle, they didn't really focus on that in the pictures. That's very cool. Looks like a very, very durable handle. We have the Nursby G300, and this kind of looks similar to that as far as the design. And Harbor Freight is known for that. They always, you know, like grab other ideas and kind of implement them, if you will, into their own. A lot of companies do that now, though. Let's see here. This is all the same stuff. Rugged design, built to use outside and on the go. Smart display. Okay, so here, thermal management. That's cool. Quiet. Oh, I thought that was overheating and low temp, but that's actually the fan that keeps it at a proper running watt, like your car has your radiator and your fan on there. And that's about it. Okay, so let's look at real quick. So, you know, interesting. I'm not interested in a product like this because I've got much bigger ones. But you know, to see new people get on the game of or in the market of power stations, I'm always welcoming that. Here's your owner's manual here. I'll upload this to the channel too, just so people can see it. This is the 300. So this is nice here. So this gives you an idea for gauge and wires, and lets you know, hey, is this too skinny or is that too? This stands for. I know I'm jumping all over the place. I apologize. AWG is all. It's an American wire gauge, I believe it stands for. And the weird thing with this rating is it's backwards than what you're used to. The higher the number, you usually think is bigger, right? Because traditionally that's how numbers work. But when you use gauge of wire, the smaller number is actually a fatter wire. So just remember that when you're buying your cables. You know, don't say, oh, this is on sale, it's a 14 gauge because it's half price. There's a reason. 14 gauge is really skinny. You want at least 10 to 12. I recommend 12. 12 or fatter, if you will, which is actually a lower number. Obviously 8 gets very expensive, and you don't need it for a small power station like that. But when you get into like 16 and 18, if you want to see how skinny that is, take a speaker out of your car if you have access to it and look at those little dinky wires that they put on those factory speakers. You know, like the little 5 1/4 speaker, little baby speakers. Those wires are so thin that you could bend them and break them almost. They're so fragile, and you don't want that when you're dealing with power. Sound is different because it doesn't carry as much power, of course, but when you're charging something through a DC power, you do not want skinny cables, because what happens is the heat gets out of there when there's a lack of copper or insulation, and it can start a fire. So it can be very dangerous if you get the wrong gauge, guys. So be careful of that, please. Let's see here. Let me drop this down here, and then I'll take screenshots of these here, and I'll upload this here. There's the back. Was there a light on it, guys? Did I miss a light? Where's the back of this thing? There's 5 more pictures. Yeah, see, they didn't show you the back of the system. It almost looks... I do remember, guys, there was a picture of the back of it somewhere. Where the heck did I see that? I could have swore... Remember, we saw the... if you remember looking back, we saw the back of it with the charging port. Where the heck did I see that? Remember, it had the AC plug in there. Oh, boy. I got to go back here. Let's go through all the pictures real quick here, guys. Oh, yeah, right here. Okay, so I thought this was going to be a light. This is actually a panel for where they put all the information. But it looked kind of like, in this one, it looked like there would be a light there. But that's just a panel for the sticker. Okay, that makes sense. I'd much rather have that a light and then put the sticker on the bottom. But that's me. Here's the full display here so you can see everything. So this is a problematic area. So if you have too hot or cold, the battery pack, it won't charge you or let you use it. And then here's your battery probably depleted or has a problem. Your fan, and then here's your... I was right with this. Here's your input and output. Very simplistic. Here's your button icons. So this would be carport, USBs, and ACs. And then you have if it's charging or if it's getting solar, or if you're charging through the USB-C. I do like that it has a separate icon for that. That's pretty cool. And then time to empty, time to full. This will obviously switch depending on if your input is higher than your output, or if your output is higher than your input. This will change in that direction, if that makes sense to you. Okay, so let's see here. And pretty simple. Oh, and look at this, guys. Look at this. So it says included. This is what I really was hoping to see. So let me make this bigger here. Notice that this, guys, right here, this is SAE, looks like SAE, to MC4. So they thought about it. Good for them, because Harbor Freight did not have MC4s. It does look like kind of like an SAE. I'm not sure. But I never liked that they didn't have these, because you want these, guys. You really want MC4s. You know, try to get everything MC4s. 2 reasons. Number 1, it's waterproof. Number 2, it works really good. And I want to put a number 3. Everybody has it, so it's universal. You don't see a lot of Anderson power poles or even XT60s out there. Everything has, you know, that MC4, so it's nicer, much nicer. Here's your icon flicker. Here's system battery pack protection. Yep, so that goes on when there's a problem. So that's all your overdrive stuff when there's a problem or a headache. And then pretty much, look at that, a full teardown. Wow, for Harbor Freight, that is that's like a CAD teardown. Look at that, guys. Wow, and it has the different buttons. No, okay, that's probably the book. Very nice. It counts every piece. I like that a lot. I didn't expect that from a store like Harbor Freight. And then that's the end of it. All right, guys. Well, I'll go to the top here, and I'll save that for myself, and I'll upload that in case anybody needs that. But that is the Predator Power Stations, guys, by Harbor Freight. Let me know what you think. Interesting. I like the colors. I like the design a little bit. It is a very simplistic power station for me, but you know, it might work perfectly for someone that's out there. If you want to check it out, there's a link. I'm not an affiliate of Harbor Freight, so it's just a straight link that if you want to check it out, have fun. I don't know if they're going to sell that on Amazon, but I think they already said in the advertising that's exclusive to Harbor Freight. So if you want to check them out, go to your local Harbor Freight store. Just, you don't even have to order it online. You can go in and actually see it, and hopefully, let's hope, guys, that because these are battery power, maybe they'll be nice enough to put a couple displays on there where you can turn them on and see them in the store and see if you like them. All right, guys. Well, the Predator 350, this was at 600. What the heck were they all? 3.6. What was it? 3.612 in 2000. What were the powers here? And the 100 and 200 watt foldable solar panels. Here you go, 350, 600, 1200, and 2000. The bigger ones are obviously coming soon. Guys, if you like the review, hit the like button. If you're not a subscriber, please hop up there and hit the button. It's free. We're almost to 1,800 subscribers. What a great big family we're building. And all the people are in the same mind as you. They like solar power, and they help each other, guys. So if you have a question, people, you know, kind of run to your aid and say, well, this is what I did, and it worked for me. And it helps us all learn together as a team. All right, guys, ramble on. Be safe, and I'll see you guys next time here at Rambling Bob Reviews. Bye, guys.